ability to understand how powerful our consciousness is. Like Kerry was saying, we have all this power within us, and we can control reality in any way that we really want to if we just knew this pretty much, unfortunately, clandestine power that we have in us, which all the ancient religions have told us about, but we have completely forgotten and lost sight of. So, yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say tell someone don't prepare and don't hunker down for disaster, economic disaster or 2012 cataclysm or whatever, but that's essentially a second-order project. The first-order project is your own spirituality that you have inside of you, which can control all things around you. So there's no real need to sit around and be too afraid of this or that happening, because we can just control the world however we want to. This is scientifically verifiable information. We can prove that people with their thoughts can control reality, reshape reality in grand ways, not just small little ways in our little private lives, but throughout the whole environment that we live in. So this is what we all should be really focusing on. In my opinion, it's what we're all really made of, always have been. It's just we've been tricked into paying attention to our televisions and these underpaid jobs that we have instead of our own inner spirituality and our families and things like that. So that's the real key, and that's my big message, I think, bigger message than anything I can say, is that we all should just stop what we're doing at some points of the day and just try to, like I described in my book, Telementation, we should get a hold of this divinely charged soul that we have, which is the ultimate power in the universe.
Absolutely, amazing.
Short break here, so I just want to let you guys know here at the Arcusug Radio, we're in Holland, believe it or not, the actual radio station, whereas I am in California, so it's kind of a crazy combination. We're going to a few-minute break on our end, and we'll be joining you right back.
Kerry, are we still connected in Arcusug Radio?
I don't know. Hans, are you there? I assume.
Hans, are we still connected in Arcusug Radio?
Yes, he's saying yes.
Wonderful. Yeah, we can certainly continue. Jeff, please continue, because I think this is really key. This changes, by the way, all your perspective in terms of how you handle technology and geopolitics too, because you start to transcend beyond all the dialectics that are used to control us and all the educational, religious, and other things that have been used in the past to control the populations. Can you comment on that? Because you deal with a lot of this in your books and your video on the Illuminati are the Nephilim. So people aren't looking for an external kind of savior. They need to realize, as I tell them, and people often misjudge this, that if you don't have the spirit of, quote, the messianic spirit rise inside you, you're never going to recognize any real, if you want to call it, external influence trying to help save us.
Yeah, there's two kinds of technology, to my knowledge. There's a kind of technology that's not integrated with your consciousness, and that's what you can call like a nut and bolt technology, and it's what we use in the world largely today. All these machines and war machines and big skyscrapers and so forth that we use. And then there's a second kind of technology which is integrated with your consciousness, and I call that telementation, and that's a higher order technology, which is orders of magnitude more powerful than the lower order kind of nut and bolt technology. And the higher order technology is, there's not a whole lot of effort needed to arrange the world in the way you need. It's just your consciousness, which is integrated with reality, is able to do it for you. And nobody really knows how it happens. We just have this ability, this power, which appears to be given to us by our being in God's image, in the Creator's image, because the Creator's of course, a creator of reality, and we are too, in a lesser degree, in God's image. But the higher order technology is not only is it technology, but it's a form of spiritual ecstasy, and it's how you really can get things done in the world. And it's a technology that nothing is greater than. I mean, we don't need to worry about the Illuminati Nephilim masters or what they can do with it to us and so forth with this higher order technology, because it's a technology that comes from the divine that is everywhere, and so therefore nothing can touch it.
Well, we talked about this off air, and I want to get your comments about it. Jeff, the miniseries on television, I guess it's into the third season, called Mad Men or Madison Men. All of the lettered agencies, all of the globalists, all of the religionists, all of the, quote, elite, in a sense, are ad men. They're advertising to try to create or manifest a consciousness and reality. Can you comment on that? Because whether they're NSA, CIA, or corporate board directors in whatever country. They're, in a sense, advertising men trying to massage the global consciousness toward a specific timeline.
Yeah, that's my thesis.
What about 45 seconds?
We've talked about, Doc, and I know that you hold the same thesis to a degree, and in your own words. But the idea, that's what the point of the mass media is. It's not just brainwashing that the global mass media is trying to do, but they need us to believe and feel certain things are going to happen, because if we do that, then we will create the reality and that they want to establish. In other words, that's why they have to tell us about 9/11 beforehand. They have to tell us about all these earthquakes coming beforehand. They have to tell us about all the wars coming beforehand.
Jeff, I'd like you to repeat that thesis you mentioned on our Argusug radio in Netherlands, in Holland. Very important thesis, because I agree 100% that in a sense we are the, if you want to call it, the manifestation engine. This is why they have to feed the beast of the consciousness of mankind, so that we will then manifest the reality they're trying to actually create, which is why I call it Hollywood, or all the major media, and you can see the control is they're trying to manifest a specific timeline, telling us in advance what they want to manifest.
Yeah, exactly. That's why people always wonder, why do they tell us everything beforehand? And the reason is it's part of their ritual, but specifically because they need to make sure that we telementationally and with the innate spiritual power that we have in us to create the world, they need us to create an environment which is conducive to them carrying out the Illuminati masters carrying out their hellish plans. So in other words, we have to telementationally create reality for them to do what they want to do. If we don't do that, they can't do anything. Okay, if we all sit around and believe and feel and know that reality is filled with peace and prosperity and resources everywhere for people to have, and wealth and happiness and spirituality, then there's nothing that they can do. They have to create a world filled with dread and worry and horror and pain and destruction of the family and so forth. And that is really the primary purpose of the mass media, to get that in everybody's consciousness. So it really gets deep into your consciousness. It can restructure your subconscious mind, your inner mind, when you feed yourself this stuff in the mass media day after day after day. Yeah. And then you're filled with all these feelings of horror. So therefore, that's exactly the world we're going to give ourselves.
Yeah, you mentioned about 2 moons of Mars that appeared at a period of time. And those 2 names actually are what I call the 2 different elements that the New World Order uses as the fuel to manifest through us as the engine their version of reality. Can you mention those names?
I don't know if I want to mention that to you, Doc.
Remember Phobos and Deimos?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And what?
Yeah, I don't know if you might know more about that than
fear and dread.
Actually.
In other words, fear and dread are the 2 things. If you don't have fear, for example, the natives do this when they do a native dance, and if they are dancing, people say, why do the natives dance for so many hours? They have to do that so they won't manifest the fear.
Oh, yeah, I remember us talking about that, right?
The fear molecule, right? And if you go out, and it doesn't matter how large the animal is, it could be a 12-foot-tall brown bear in Kamchatka. If you don't manifest fear either in your behavior or in the scent, the fear molecule that you'd exude from your skin, they think of you as a predator and not the prey. If you run, or if you manifest the fear molecule, they see signatures indicating that you're prey, you're about to be pursued and eaten. And the same thing occurs on the globalist level, on the galactic and cosmic level. And what basically we're trying to do with Project Camelot in our program and your work is trying to steer people back to a state of empowerment, to not be a victim, to start manifesting their ability to be co-creator of our collective timeline and not become subject to a galactic and a cosmic administration of evil and destruction that's trying to be foisted upon us and marketed to us, as I say, by admin. They're not just physically in corporations or lettered agencies, but in galactic and cosmic levels as well.
I think that's very well said, Dr. Deagle. Sorry about that. I just wanted to say that I thought that was very well said, very well stated, Dr. Deagle, and I agree with both of you on that. Obviously, we have to take control of our own reality as much as possible. I do say, however, that there are various things that have been put into the scenario such that we want to have a certain kind of experience. And this is where people get very confused. If you simply tell them superficially that they can change their own reality, I think that they soon become frustrated when they work at that. I think that they have to understand, and people do need to understand that we have an agreement with reality coming in as a soul incarnated in